We're back. Thank you guys very much for joining us here this Wednesday evening for the Starting Point Photography segment. Don't forget, as always, the website is startingpointphotography.com. I don't know how many folks have heard this story, but this, in some ways, this is an awful story, and I'll just read out the pertinent details. Photographer sues Adobe, saying a bug deleted files worth $250,000. Guy lost 100,000 files. Adobe's being sued by a commercial photographer and videographer who claims he lost $250,000 worth of work when a bug in Premiere Pro permanently deleted a huge number of his photo and video files. Premiere Pro has a function called Clean Cache that users can use to clear up temporary files that are generated in the course of working on a video project. Once the project is completed, Clean Cache can empty the media cache directory, blah, 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 blah. Well, what happened is, in 2017, users began reporting that Clean Cache was going beyond its intended functionality. This was a known bug, and deleting files found outside of the media cache directory. So what happened is, he told the Adobe software to do what it's supposed to do, clean the cache, and it went outside of what it was supposed to do and deleted files off of other devices, whether it be his hard drive or a locally connected backup. That's the gist of his case, that the software deleted his files. The first natural reaction that I had when I saw this story was, "You're an idiot." And the second was, "You're not a professional photographer or a professional videographer," because a professional would never not have multiple backups.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He is. I'm just ragging on him for that. Now, regardless of whether or not he had backups, and I think we haven't seen the response from Adobe. I think Adobe's going to say, if Adobe says, well, he should have had backups, Adobe's going to be dead wrong on that one. You can't demand that users have backups of their data. They should.
It's not for them to say, though.
That's right. It's Adobe software that did this. It wasn't his lack of backups that did this. If he hadn't used the software, his lack of backups wouldn't have affected anything. It's Adobe software that caused this problem. The only thing that Adobe can possibly do is say, hey, this was a known bug. We're sorry. We were fixing it, but we let everyone know about it, so you shouldn't have done what you did. This is going to cost Adobe some money. It's not going to cost them $250,000. I guarantee you that. It's not going to cost them $250,000. But the other issue for me is you should have had a backup, dude. You should have had multiple backups. Nowadays, backups are, for a lot of people, especially average people, easy to do. Apple's got Time Machine, which will do backups for you automatically. There are apps like Super Duper, which I love using, Carbon Copy Cloner, which I love using. All will do automated backups automatically. One thing that I've heard from a lot, especially new users, is backups are a pain because they take so long. Well, your first backup will always take you a long time because your first backup backs up everything on your hard drive. And nowadays we've all got multi-gigabyte bunches of data on our computers. So when you get your new computer and you install all the software you want and you see that your 100 gigabyte hard drive has now got 75 or 70 gigabytes left because you got 30 gigs of stuff, pictures and documents and software and that kind of stuff. And so you plug it in to do your first backup, and that first backup takes several hours. And you go, well, I'm not doing this every single time. Most backup software, Time Machine and Carbon Copy and Cloner and Super Duper, allow you to do what's called incremental backups. And that is, it will only do a backup of the things that changed since the last time you did a backup. So if you do a backup every day, it'll only back up the things you worked on that day. So if all you worked on was a Word document all day long, you worked on your manuscript, you worked on your university thesis, it would only back that up. It would back up Photoshop and Safari and all the other kinds of things. So your backups are very, very quick. Melissa did a backup today on my encouragement, and it took maybe 3 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes. Because you mostly work in documents, in Word documents, and those are very small, and so they're very easy to back up. The other thing you can do, too, to speed your backups up is tell your backup software to not back up things that you can easily replace. There's no need to back up Safari, because you can go to Apple's website and download Safari. Or actually, no. You can Safari is in your operating system. When you install your Mac operating system, it comes with Safari. So you don't got to back up Chrome, because you can always go to google.com and download Chrome. So you don't got to back up a lot of applications that you got from online, because you can, in theory, re-download them. The biggest problem with re-downloading applications is it's a pain in the butt to go and find all those serial numbers for all that software. That's where something like 1Password comes in very, very handy. I use 1Password to save all the serial number. Whenever I get a new serial number for a piece of software, I save it in 1Password. And that way, there's the name of the software, there's the username, and there's the serial number for the software. So if something happens, if it crashes or I lose it, boom, I got it right there. So incremental backups are very, very quick after the first one. The other thing you want to do is decide what your most important data is, and then back that up multiple times. Melissa's got a bunch of work documents, a whole bunch of Word files. They are on her hard drive of her laptop, and they're also on a backup hard drive. And people think, okay, that's great. I got one copy on my desktop, one copy on my backup hard drive. Fantastic. But I always ask those people, where's your backup hard drive? And they go, right here. No. Because if something bad happens, it could take out your backup hard drive too. So if, God forbid, your house burns down, your laptop and your backup hard drive are gone. If somebody breaks in your house and steals your stuff, you're probably going to steal the backup hard drive too. That's next to the computer. So it's good to have a backup hard drive next to the computer, or like Melissa does, in a desk that she brings out whenever she wants to do backups. That's great. In case your computer itself dies, and it can. There's the old line is there are two kinds of people: those who have had a hard drive crash, and those who will have a hard drive crash. Mm-hmm. Hard drives are physical objects; they're going to crash.
Mm-hmm. I've had it happen to me.
So have I. Not dozens, probably 5-6 times. Mm-hmm. I've turned my computer on and it's nothing. Mm-hmm. It's dead in a doornail, and that's awful. That's utterly, because my first thought is always, when's the last time I did a backup? Mm-hmm. If it's never, you're screwed. Mm-hmm. All those photos, all those Word documents, all that software, gone. It's an awful, awful feeling, and I wouldn't wish it. Yeah, I would wish it on my worst enemy. I think, yeah, I would wish that on my worst enemy.
Well, you would, yes.
Because I'm small and paid that way. But so you want to make sure that not only do you have what's called a local backup, one that you can get your hands on in case your laptop or your Mac dies, but if you can, you also want an off-site backup. And back in the day when I was working in a real office, we backed up on tape. Everyone's computers backed up on tape each night. And we would take the tape out and put another tape in for the next day's backup, but that tape would go home with somebody. Because that way, if the building burned down or the tape machine got stolen, whatever, we had a backup of the previous day's work, and we would rotate tapes. Other companies have a more formal way of doing that. So if you can, one way to do your backups is to take your back up your stuff overnight, and then each day take that hard drive to work with you and swap it with another hard drive that's at work. So you'll always be swapping hard drives. That's great, because that means you'll always have at least a 24-hour backup. Now, there are services that you can do backups online. iCloud is one of them. I wouldn't recommend iCloud because they only allow 5 gigs of storage, and that's like 10 photos for some of us. But there's a company called Backblaze that will allow you to do backups online, and it will back up only your important. You wouldn't back up your entire hard drive on Backblaze. You would save your important Word documents on Backblaze, and yes. Backblaze can be set up so that it does backups very frequently. Once every couple hours, it'll automatically grab your documents and put them on the cloud for you. And because they're Word documents, they're small, and it's in the background, you don't even notice it. You don't even know that it's happening. Up until a couple of weeks ago, I was telling photographers that you should do a backup to Flickr, because Flickr at that time had a free account, and they gave you 1 terabyte of data. Unfortunately, Flickr's changed that policy, so you can't do that anymore. But there are other services. I believe Google Photos allows you to upload a bunch of photos to their service. The Pro version of Flickr allows you to back up a lot of photos to Flickr. So there's all kinds of ways to do backups. The important thing is you got to do backups. You just, if you have anything important on your computer, and that's backups of your phones and of your laptops. And the great thing is backups nowadays, these are dirt cheap. This is a 2 terabyte drive that I use for remote backups. I take this with me when I travel, and so I'll have a backup at the hotel, and I'll do backups daily from on the hotel. But that 2 terabyte drive, I've got it linked if you want to get, this is a Seagate 2 terabyte drive. If you wanted to get it, you can go to our website, yourmaclifeshow.com, and on the right-hand side there, I've linked this to the Amazon link for this, and it's $65 for 2 terabytes. And it's literally, just slightly bigger than my iPhone. So this thing goes into a backpack. This thing goes into a briefcase. Really, buy a couple of these, swap them out. The other thing you can do with these is back up the family's laptops. Maybe not everyone in the family needs to have a Time Machine backup and backed up every single hour like Time Machine will do, but maybe you just want to go over to each person's computer once a week and plug it in and back up to these little small hard drives. Now, depending on how important your data is and how often it changes, you might want to back up more often than that or less often than that, depending on you. Melissa hadn't done a backup since October 5th. So if something had happened between then and now, she would only be able to get back data from October 5th. How much work would you have lost from October 5th to November 14th?
Oh, a lot, but not as much as I would lose if it was March or April or May or June.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be I would melt in a puddle on the ground.
that would be good. Mm-hmm. Dave D says, Sean, that looks like it wants to be lost. Surprisingly enough, I haven't lost this. I think maybe because I realize how important it is. And I've got other hard drives.
You mean like your iPhone 10 that you left on the seat behind you at the train? And okay.
What do you be like that for?
Do you have a link to the story? Because Susan was wondering if there was a link to it.
What story?
The story you're talking about right now.
Oh, the doofus? Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll post it into the IRC chat room. It's on photopixel.com, too, if you want to check it out. Photographer Sue's Adobe. And there are varying sizes of these things. I think Seagate also has got they got a 4 terabyte version of this for $100, and they got a 5 terabyte version of it for $119. So the 2 and 4 terabyte ones are different sizes. So this is the funny thing. This is how technology has changed. So this is 2 terabytes. How much is this?
Not even close.
But you think there's more terabytes in this than there is in this?
Yes.
Why?
Because I do. That's my guess, and that's my non-nerd guess.
Such a clever girl. Both have the exact same amount of data. But one is significantly, the one on the bottom is significantly older than the one on the top. This is maybe 6 months, a year old. Actually, no, I would have gotten to me just before I met you. So, but a year old, that's a couple of years old. But yeah, there's the size difference in that they'd be able to come down. And the other thing is they're faster too. So get yourself a hard drive.
I think Mo might want a link to those hard drives.
Yes, go to our website, yourmaclifeshow.com. On the left-hand side there, you'll see a little red hard drive. You can click on that, and it will take you to the Amazon page for the Seagate. And I've got no preference for Seagate over Western Digital or anything else. That just happens to be the one I've got. One of the things I have done in the past is I will buy hard drives from different manufacturers, so I don't get caught in case one manufacturer has an issue with particular hard drive. So the next one I might buy would be a Western Digital or iOmega or whatever. So keep that in mind. You want to make sure you have backups whenever you possibly can.